If your bank account gave you anxiety this week, I want you to sit with that for a second because in 90 days, it doesn't have to. Not someday, not when I get a raise. 90 days starting today, following the exact plan a guy named Jordan used to go from $34 in his account to zero debt and over 2 grand saved on the same income he already has right now. No trick, no hustle, just 3 phases, 30 days each. Here's exactly how it works. Before we get into Jordan's plan, here's why it actually worked when so many other attempts don't. Most people try to fix their finances all at once. New budget, new savings goal, pay off debt, cut every expense starting Monday. It lasts about 11 days before it collapses under its own weight. 90 days works because it's broken into 3 separate jobs done in order. Stop the bleeding first, then build a foundation, then change the trajectory. Each phase sets up the next one. Skip the order and the whole thing falls apart. Let's go phase by phase, starting with day 1. Jordan's first 30 days had nothing to do with saving money. He had no idea where his money was even going, and you can't fix a leak you haven't found. Week 1, track everything. Every purchase logged the same day in a single note on his phone. Not a spreadsheet, not an app with 12 categories, just a running list. Coffee, gas, the App Store charge he forgot about. By day 7, he wasn't guessing anymore. He had numbers. Week 2, find the invisible leaks. Going line by line through his statement, Jordan found $71 a month in subscriptions he wasn't using. A streaming service, a fitness app opened twice, a storage upgrade he never chose. He canceled anything he couldn't justify in one sentence out loud. Week 3, freeze the plastic. Jordan had a $1,800 credit card balance and had only ever paid the minimum. He didn't need a perfect payoff plan yet. He just needed to stop adding to it. New rule, nothing goes on the card that can't be paid off that same month. Week 4, open a separate savings account. Not for a big goal yet, just somewhere his money couldn't accidentally get spent. He moved $50 into it, the first dollars he'd saved in over a year, and set up an automatic transfer for every payday going forward. By day 30, Jordan hadn't gotten rich. He just stopped the bleeding. He knew where his money went, cut $71 a month in dead weight, stopped growing his debt, and had a savings account that actually existed. That's the whole job of phase 1. Not progress, just a stable floor to build on. With the bleeding stopped, phase 2 is where the actual traction starts. Attack the debt with a real plan. Jordan put every extra dollar toward his credit card balance on top of the minimum while paying minimums on nothing else because he had nothing else. No more whatever's left over at the end of the month. A fixed number, moved every payday, whether he felt like it or not. At this rate, that $1,800 balance had a real end date. Day 74, not eventually. Build a starter emergency fund. This is the step most people skip, and it's the one that saves everything else. Jordan set a target of $1,000, not a full emergency fund, just enough to survive a car repair or a broken phone without reaching for the credit card again. He split his extra money between debt and this fund, roughly 70-30, so a surprise expense couldn't undo phase 1's progress overnight. Attach a real number to a real date. Save more never worked for Jordan because it wasn't a goal, it was a mood. So he wrote down an actual target, $1,000 emergency fund by day 60, credit card paid off by day 74. A specific number with a deadline is something you can check yourself against. A vague feeling isn't. Automate the boring parts. By week 7, Jordan had automatic transfers running for savings, a fixed extra payment on the card, and bills on autopay so nothing slipped and triggered a late fee. The less willpower the plan required day to day, the more likely it was to survive a bad week. By day 60, Jordan's credit card balance was under $400. His emergency fund had over $700 in it, and maybe more importantly, he'd gone 2 straight months without a single surprise expense turning into new debt. The system was doing the work now, not his motivation. Here's the thing, nobody tells you about day 60. It feels like the finish line, and it isn't even close to the best part. Because the moment that credit card hits zero, Jordan is about to make one decision that either locks all of this in for good or quietly undoes it in a matter of weeks, the exact same way the Rays did back before he started. Most people get exactly this far and then let the money they were paying toward debt just evaporate back into spending. That decision is coming up next. The first 60 days were about damage control. The last 30 are about actually getting ahead, the part that compounds long after the 90 days are over. Finish the debt, then redirect it immediately. Jordan's credit card hit zero on day 74, exactly on schedule. The moment it did, he didn't let that freed up money quietly get absorbed into spending. The full amount that used to go toward the card went straight into his emergency fund and, once that hit $1,000, into a separate account earmarked for a real goal. Pick one goal beyond safety. Emergency funds protect you. They don't move you forward. So Jordan picked one target, 3 months of rent saved for breathing room to eventually change jobs, and gave it a number and a date, the same way he had with the debt. A goal with a deadline pulls money toward it. A goal that's just a feeling never wins against a same-day craving for takeout. Decide where future raises go before they arrive. This is the step almost everyone skips, and it's the one that makes the first 90 days last. Jordan knew that the moment more income showed up, a raise, a bonus, a side gig, his old habits would quietly try to absorb it into a nicer apartment or new car payment. So he made the decision now, while there was no money on the table to argue with his. Any future raise gets split, half to goals, half to life, automatically, before it ever touches his checking account. Do one full audit. In the final week, Jordan went back through everything: subscriptions, spending categories, his one goal, his emergency fund balance, the same way he did in week 2 of phase 1. Not to overhaul anything, just to catch anything that had quietly crept back in. It took 20 minutes, and it's the habit he plans to repeat every 90 days going forward. By day 90, Jordan had zero credit card debt, a full $1,000 emergency fund, over $1,000 saved toward his rent cushion, and the part that doesn't show up on a spreadsheet, he stopped feeling a small wave of dread every time his phone buzzed with a bank notification. That feeling took 90 days to build. It didn't take a raise. It took a plan, done in order, one phase at a time. Here's the whole thing. Compressed. Days 1 to 30. Stop the bleeding. Track every dollar. Cut the dead subscriptions. Stop adding to debt. Open a savings account. Days 31 to 60. Build the foundation. Attack debt with a real plan. Start a $1,000 emergency fund. Attach real numbers to real dates. Automate what you can. Days 61 to 90. Change the trajectory. Finish the debt and redirect the payment immediately. Pick one goal beyond safety. Decide where future raises go before they arrive. And audit the whole system. None of this requires a raise, a windfall, or a personality transplant. It requires doing these 3 jobs in order and not skipping ahead, because phase 3 feels more exciting than phase 1. You don't need all 90 days figured out today. You need day 1. Pick the first week's task, track everything for 7 days, and start it today. Not the version of today that shows up once things calm down. Drop a comment with which phase you're starting in. If this helped, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.